It's July 8, 1981. The air in New York City is thick with humidity, the streets buzzing with the energy of a city that never sleeps. On Wall Street, the heart of American finance, ambition hangs heavy in the air. But on this sweltering summer day, a shadow falls over the city that no one could have predicted. A young woman, vibrant and full of life, vanishes without a trace, her disappearance a chilling prelude to a murder that would grip the nation. Her name was Karin Hofmann, a 25-year-old aspiring model from Germany, who had come to New York City to chase her dreams. She was last seen alive at the elegant Chelsea Hotel, a haven for artists and dreamers. Karin was supposed to meet a photographer for a portfolio shoot, a stepping stone on her path to stardom. But she never made it to the appointment. The mystery of Karin's disappearance deepened, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions that haunted the city. Before we dive deeper into this gripping mystery, make sure to subscribe to the World Stories channel. Like this video if you're intrigued, and drop a comment below with your theories. Who knows, you might just solve the case. Now, back to the story. A month later, a gruesome discovery on the other side of the Hudson River sent shockwaves through New York and beyond. Two young boys, playing in the woods near the Henry Hudson Drive, stumbled upon a scene that would etch itself into their memories forever. Hidden amongst the trees, partially concealed by fallen leaves, lay the remains of a young woman. The body was badly decomposed, making identification difficult, but one chilling detail stood out: a distinctive ring, still clinging to the skeletal finger. News of the discovery spread like wildfire, igniting a media frenzy that consumed the city. Dental records soon confirmed their worst fears. The body found in the woods was indeed that of Karin Hofmann. The medical examiner determined that Karin had been brutally murdered, her body bearing the marks of a violent struggle. The investigation intensified, the police determined to bring Karin's killer to justice. But the killer remained elusive, hidden in the shadows, a phantom who had committed the perfect crime. The location where Karin's body was found, a secluded wooded area off the Henry Hudson Drive, became a focal point of the investigation. Forensic teams combed every inch of the area, searching for any trace of evidence that might lead them to Karin's killer. Amongst the fallen leaves and undergrowth, investigators made a series of chilling discoveries. A torn piece of fabric, snagged on a thorny bush, matched the description of the dress Karin was last seen wearing. A cigarette butt, discarded carelessly nearby, was analyzed for DNA, but the results proved inconclusive. And then, a breakthrough: a set of tire tracks, partially obscured by time and weather, imprinted in the soft earth leading to and from the shallow grave where Karin's body was found. Experts analyzed the tread pattern, determining that the tracks were made by a vehicle with a specific type of tire, a tire that was not commonly used in the United States. But despite their best efforts, the tire tracks, like the other clues, led to a dead end, leaving investigators no closer to finding Karin's killer. The investigation into Karin's murder took a dramatic turn with a startling revelation. A witness claimed to have seen Karin with a man fitting a known criminal's description. The man, Robert Chambers, was notorious in New York's underbelly. Chambers quickly became the prime suspect in Karin's murder. But a shocking twist threw the investigation into turmoil. Chambers' attorney produced an alibi witness, igniting media speculation. As the investigation into Karin's murder stalled, whispers of a conspiracy began to circulate through the city's underbelly. Rumors spread like wildfire, fueled by the lack of concrete evidence and the high-profile nature of the case. Some whispered that Chambers had powerful connections, individuals who were protecting him from the consequences of his actions. Others speculated that Karin's murder was linked to organized crime, her death a grim reminder of the city's dark undercurrent. One particularly persistent rumor pointed to a possible connection between Karin's murder and a series of unsolved disappearances of young women in the area. The victims, all aspiring models or actresses, had vanished without a trace, their cases remaining unsolved and largely forgotten. Could Karin's murder be the work of a serial killer, preying on the city's most vulnerable? The thought sent chills down the spines of New Yorkers, casting a long shadow of fear over the city. Fueling the conspiracy theories were a series of strange occurrences that plagued the investigation. The whispers of conspiracy, though unsubstantiated, added another layer of complexity to an already convoluted case. Despite the lack of a smoking gun, the prosecution remained steadfast in their belief that Robert Chambers was responsible for Karin's murder. They argued that the circumstantial evidence, when pieced together, painted a clear picture of his guilt. Chambers' history of violence against women, his presence at the Chelsea Hotel on the night of Karin's disappearance, and the tire tracks linking his vehicle to the crime scene all pointed to his involvement in her death. The defense, however, argued that the prosecution's case was based on speculation and conjecture, lacking the concrete evidence needed to convict Chambers of murder. The trial dragged on for weeks, each side presenting their case with unwavering conviction. The courtroom became a battleground of conflicting narratives, the jury left to sift through the tangled web of evidence and testimony to determine the truth. As the trial reached its climax, the weight of evidence seemed to tip in favor of the prosecution. The question remained, would the jury be convinced of his guilt beyond a reasonable doubt? The jury deliberated for days, their every move scrutinized by a nation on edge. The tension in the courtroom was palpable, the air thick with anticipation. Outside the courthouse, crowds gathered, their chants of justice for Karin echoing through the streets. Inside the jury room, 12 individuals grappled with the weight of their decision. They reviewed the evidence, debated the merits of each side's arguments, and wrestled with their own personal biases. The fate of Robert Chambers, and the hope for justice for Karin Hofmann, rested in their hands. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, the word came down, the jury had reached a verdict. The moment of truth had arrived, the culmination of months of investigation, legal wrangling, and public scrutiny. The air crackled with anticipation as the jury filed back into the courtroom, their faces etched with the gravity of their decision. A hush fell over the crowd, all eyes fixed on the foreperson, their fate hanging in the balance. The judge, his expression solemn, addressed the jury, asking for their verdict. In the matter of the people of the state of New York versus Robert Chambers, the foreperson began, her voice trembling slightly, on the count of murder in the second degree, we, the jury, find the defendant. The foreperson paused, her next words echoing through the silent courtroom, not guilty. A collective gasp swept through the courtroom as the verdict sunk in. Gasps of disbelief turned to cries of outrage as the reality of the jury's decision washed over those who had gathered, hoping for justice for Karin. The courtroom erupted in chaos, the sound of shouting and crying drowning out the judge's attempts to restore order. The not guilty verdict in the Robert Chambers trial sent shockwaves through the nation, igniting debate about wealth, privilege, and media influence in legal outcomes. Critics argued that Chambers, with his charm and connections, manipulated the system, escaping justice for a crime they believed he committed. The case highlighted violence against women and the challenges victims faced in seeking justice. Karin Hofmann, once vibrant, was reduced to a footnote, overshadowed by her accused killer. The verdict exposed racial and socioeconomic biases in the criminal justice system. The case fueled a movement for justice system reform, highlighting systemic inequalities. Despite the not guilty verdict, doubts about Robert Chambers' involvement in Karin's murder lingered like a shadow. The circumstantial evidence, though not enough to secure a conviction, cast a long shadow of suspicion over Chambers, leaving many to believe that he had indeed escaped justice. The lack of a definitive answer to the question of who killed Karin Hofmann haunted the case, fueling endless speculation and conspiracy theories. Some whispers pointed to a possible accomplice, someone who had helped Chambers dispose of Karin's body and cover his tracks. Others speculated that Karin's death was the result of a tragic accident, a drug-fueled misadventure gone wrong, and that Chambers, out of fear and panic, had covered up her death. The unanswered questions surrounding Karin's murder continued to torment her loved ones, who were denied the closure they desperately sought. The case, though officially closed, remained an open wound in the annals of New York City crime, a chilling reminder of the city's dark underbelly and the elusive nature of truth. The unsolved murder of Karin Hofmann serves as a stark reminder of the limitations of the justice system and the often elusive nature of truth. It highlights the devastating impact of violent crime on victims and their loved ones, who grapple with emotional fallout and unanswered questions. The case raises questions about the media's role in shaping public perception and influencing legal outcomes. Intense media scrutiny and sensationalized coverage arguably influence public opinion and the jury's decision to acquit. Advances in DNA technology offer hope that one day, Karin's killer may be identified, bringing closure to her family. Until then, Karin's memory lives on, a haunting reminder of life's fragility and unanswered questions. Thank you for joining us on this wild ride. If you enjoyed unraveling mysteries and exploring the unknown with us, hit that subscribe button and join the World Stories channel for more thrilling adventures. Your support helps us bring you the best in global events, historical tales, and spine-chilling stories. Stay curious, stay adventurous, and see you in the next mystery.